Welcome to the Doorway to Self podcast, a metaphysical container for all things mental health, all things human, and all things psychic. Because if you're human, you're psychic. Through the power of story, the gift of psychoeducation, and shared research of the human experience, we will delve into all things metaphysics to help bring to light the truth of your being. If you're on the journey home to your golden self, this is the podcast for you. Here we go. This is the Mental Health Revolution with Leah Gerson of Doorway to Self. Hello and welcome back to the Doorway to Self podcast. I am so incredibly honored and excited, so excited to have the very first guest on today. Brooke Rosenblum is one of my dearest sisters. She is amazing. And I would love to tell you a little bit about her before we begin. So Brooke is the founder of May the Quartz Be With You, otherwise known as MTQB. Gosh, I always screw this up. MTQBWY, a holistic lifestyle brand, and serves her community at large as a holistic practitioner, doTERRA wellness advocate, certified crystal healer, shamanic sound alchemist, oracle, and portrait artist. She has a thriving online metaphysical shop. I'm just going to do a quick plug here and say I have bought things from that shop and they're amazing, where she shares many of her favorite tools and enjoys guiding others on how to illuminate their own source energy. Brooke, welcome. It is so wonderful to have you here.
Thank you so much, sister. And I told you before, when I'm talking about MTQBWY, I sing it out, MTQBWY. That's why we made the jingle, because I'll never forget it.
My gosh, I absolutely love that so much.
So
Much. So, just to give the general public a little bit of background, Brooke and I met in a women's group a couple years ago. I can't believe it's already been 4 years now. Called Wild Feminine Unleashed. It's no longer around. It changed its name to Raw, Real Ass Women, but changed. And while I don't only serve the feminine population or the female population, and nor does Brooke, that is where we met. And I personally look at that group as a core part of my personal journey in general, but also specifically in forming Doorway to Self. I don't know how you feel about that, Brooke, but
I
yeah.
definitely resonate with that. Absolutely. I think that those years were just so formative for myself, and even just the way that I had gotten to know you. And that was the time when really both of our brands were starting to really emerge, and, the ideas were both just like bubbling inside us. And it was beautiful that we both were rising in that way together, and, in our own unique paths. So I'm excited that, I was so a part of that with taking some of your first photos for the brand, and just everything that we shared, over the years. So it's been a beautiful journey, and I'm just so grateful to everyone who shared in that experience, and still does, because so many of our sisters were still connected in so many ways. So I just, again, I'm just so grateful for all of that. It was a beautiful chapter of my life.
Absolutely. And yeah, I still have some of those photos up on my website. I think I know for sure from the second retreat we were at together, but
Yeah.
from the first one, which was funny because at that point in time I was actually going to call the business the Butterfly Garden, and you had taken all of these pictures of me with like butterfly wings and
Yep.
whatnot.
Right.
So different, so different.
Super different feel. And there was, I think, one image though that really still worked when you shifted it to Doorway to Self. And it's just funny to see like energetically how through imagery you really can convey something. And I love seeing that in all the work that I've done through, sharing and documenting different entrepreneurs from different fields, and just how everyone expresses themselves. So that's why it's always been one of my favorite ways to express and share art. So I'll forever be doing that. Although May the Quartz Be With You is for sure my number one focus.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd love to hear, and I'd love for you to be able to share with everyone else a little bit about, or a lot about, May the Courts Be With You. How did it start? What is it? What do
Yeah.
you do?
Totally. That's a great question. A lot of people are like, "Wait, so what is that exactly?" And, it's a very loaded question, but let me start with the beginning where it kind of where the idea came to fruition. So, I'd say that really my more of my spiritual awakening and wokeness really started, like, over a decade ago, and, even when I was a younger child, I would say that I was, still spiritually aware, but in terms of my individuality and really digging deep was at least 10 years ago, and in that there was a specific time where I remember just I don't know what I was doing, but I was laying in bed and I had this download of this really clear vision of a healing center in this space that I knew it was something that I was a part of or whether I created it, but I had a download of what it was supposed to look like plans for it, like the architectural plan. It's just crazy, but I took it for what it was, and I didn't really speak about it too much, maybe to my partner at the time, and maybe a couple friends, but that was really where the seed was birthed and like where it really began. And from there, I feel like it's really been just a natural course where I've taken one step in front of the other to kind of bring me closer to that place that I was envisioning. So when I was coming up with the name of what I knew I needed to have some kind of brand and something that, I stood by and was sharing, that I needed some kind of platform to share from. So I was kind of like shooting the shit with my old coworkers, and I was working in New York City at this really great spot called Organic Avenue, which is now closed, but it was a beautiful like grab and go vegan spot. And I was just, I was talking with my coworkers about what my dreams were with this and what I was really envisioning. And I was like, I can't really come up with a good name, but they knew that I loved crystals. They knew that I loved oils, and they knew what I was into. And one of the girls is my old friend Shannon. She actually was a writer, so it was really great to have somebody who had that kind of creative knack at with like English. And she just it kind of like just spilled out of her mouth. She's like, she mentioned "May the Quartz be with you," but it followed after her asking me what my favorite crystal was, and I was like, "What kind of question is that?" I was like, "Favorite crystal?" I was like, "That's so difficult, That's not just like
For
favorite
sure.
color." But I told her
Definitely.
like if I had to pick one, I would have to say quartz because there's a million
Mm.
reasons why. But it came from that, and "May the Quartz be with you" fell out of her mouth, and I was like, and I like grabbed the table. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm shook! Like that is it." And I remember calling a not web developer, but the web hosting company, because at the time I already had my photography website. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just check the .com. I'm going to see if it's available. I jumped immediately on it. I knew it was it. And the guy on the other line, when he heard "May the Courts Be With You," he was laughing. He's like, "That's actually awesome." He's like, "I'm a Star Wars fan, so that's amazing." He's like, "I don't know what you're doing with that, but I really like it." And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm onto something here." And it really, from that point, God, that must have been, I think, over 6 years ago. And it really did take me many years to truly develop what the hell it was that I was even doing in the first place. But at least I had that .com secured. I, tried to get on social media with it, but I was just trying to share things about, living more naturally, just, sharing about my holistic lifestyle. And this is what I was really focused on. But now in present day, it's June 2nd, 2020, and times are really weird, but,
Yeah.
but amazing at the same time, but just totally weird. But currently, what I'm doing, and really the way that I'm sharing mostly through the lens of "May the Quartz Be With You," is that I have an online crystal shop, which you mentioned a bit in the intro. And through that metaphysical store, I love to share not just crystals as tools. I also have some oracle decks in there. I have a lot of different artists who curate little collections for me, like crystal jewelry and things like this. And every week I do live sales, and I love to connect with my crystal squad, I call them, on there. And otherwise, I really love sound healing. I have a background in music, and it goes generations back. So I always thought
Mm.
that I was going to be a singer even before I was a photographer. So always
Mhm.
had something in me that I just knew I had to be like in a field with art in some way, shape, or form. But now with "May the Courts Be With You," I really can do everything together.
Yes.
So I read the cards. I do sound healing when I can and when I want to, and share the crystals. I share essential oils, and it all just collectively works together under the hood, which is may the quartz be with you. And I love that it's just this umbrella term that it's a vehicle that's going to take me wherever it is that it needs to go, because it's in the end it's not just about what I can share. I know that there's such a bigger vision for what it can do for the collective. So yeah.
Absolutely, 100%, and you do a lot of collaborations under that hood as well, and
Mhm.
I've seen you, doing live sales with other artists or with other
Yeah.
doing events with other sound healers or
Mhm.
things like that, and watching what you create when you're working with other people and also alone, but also with other people is just so awesome and inspiring, and I
Thank
love what you put out.
Thank you. It's a beautiful reflection. Yeah, I really care deeply about this work that I'm doing, and really truly why I'd even started in the first place is not just like this, oh, I'm studying holistic health and I want to share it because it's like the cool new age thing to do, love and light. Like like I have a really long story of healing, and I'm still healing, where, as I'm a healer and I'm always still healing. But through that, I think why I'm so passionate about this, and I knew that I had the guts that it takes to be an entrepreneur, is because why I really started this brand has so much to do with what I went through when I was younger. And I think it's important to speak to this today, especially. And I guess it'll kind of weave itself into making sense in a bit. But um, I just want to share my story on when I was younger, when I was 11. Beautiful gateway number, of course. You know
Of
all about
course.
numerology. I can tell you that. So yeah, I was 11 at the time that I really tragically lost my mother. Without getting too deep into the details of what happened that day, but the gist of it is that someone followed us home. Actually, there was two people that followed us home, and without a word, when the passenger got out of the car, when we actually had like just turned on my block, and we thought that we were home. It was my mom in the front, my mother's mother next to her in the passenger, and I was in the back. And there was a friend of mine from camp that was coming over to play for the first time, and we thought we had just made it home, but someone had followed us, cut us off on our block, and the passenger got out and held us up. And my mom tried to save all of us and reverse the car as soon as she could, but unfortunately, whoever this person was, they shot off their gun, and her life was taken that day. And through healing through this, I mean, incredible loss that completely shaped my life, I knew that I wanted to do something better just for this world that was so fragmented and so obviously fucked up, that there are people that are losing their loved ones like this on a regular basis. This is not, of course, it's a unique circumstance, but it's not a totally isolated incident. So
Right.
I was wondering from even my adolescence, what is it that I could do so that people aren't feeling like they need to go out and commit crimes like that. So this person was a person of color, and it was very, I have to mention it because of what's happening today. On June 2nd, today is the blackout day. And I stand in solidarity so much with people of color, and it's also Pride Month, and I stand with all of it, and I actually always have, because when that happened, in total honesty, I never looked at people and really saw color like, oh, I need to be scared of people of color now. I need to be, frightened, or I don't know what it truly is, because you would think that after something traumatic like that, you would carry it within you and you would judge everybody, or I would for sure be
Mhm.
racist because of that. But I
Which I think is a huge, huge part of the problem right now.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think what stood out about my story, even to me from that perspective, was like, wow, I really do see that I have so much empathy and a lot of compassion. And in high school, I was actually part of this group called Heritage Panel, and it was full of people from all different backgrounds. And the reason that I became a part of Heritage Panel was because they came into my history class back I think I was in like 10th grade, and they were sharing their stories. And the whole point was to like bring people together, to integrate people, and to have everyone feel connected, and to share their stories. And I ended up sharing a part of my story and was immediately brought into the group. And I was just like, yeah, I'm happy to do this and to share, because ultimately, I know that there's a greater problem here that's still, even then I was a teenager and I knew it was not by any means resolved. We know the way things are, but we need to speak up so that we can, in the future generations, continue to make it a better place for all of us to live. So
Absolutely.
when I created this brand and why I stand, so firmly in being an entrepreneur, and I always knew that that's what my heart was set towards, like this was my true north, is because I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but it's whatever I'm drawn to. Is like my heart has always known the way and has always led me to the environments, the situations, the opportunities, the right people, and it continues to do so because I know, I'm here to do more of the work. And something that I was speaking about with my partner today, I was saying, I know that I was speaking up and using my voice a long time ago, even as a teenager, but somewhere along the way, I got quiet and, just kind of complacent. And
Mm.
I wonder what else could I have been doing? But I also have compassion for where I've been and what I've been going through in my own journey. But I'm realizing now and I'm owning up now that there is more that I can do with whatever platform I have, and whatever it is that's going on now, I'm definitely in a better position to do something. So it's just pretty wild. Not have I had no clue that today was going to be this day when I set up
Right.
date. And I told you before, I was like, the only reason I set it up today was because the moon was in Scorpio, and I'm talking about Scorpio queen. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and we actually, just to give people some background here, we were texting earlier today, and I was saying to Brooke, is this, with everything going on in the current climate, how are you feeling about recording today? And Brooke, you said to me, let's just see how it goes, but I feel like bringing awareness to Black Lives Matter, bringing awareness to this problem that is so pervasive in our society right now is part of our work. This
Mhm,
is part of what we are here to do. And you, even yourself, donated a bunch of your proceeds from your last live crystal sale on Instagram to a Black owned company as well. And
mhm,
and so, I mean, just anything little that we can do or anything big that we can do as supporters, as allies, as people standing in solidarity with people of color is just so, it has always been important, but I think
mhm,
now more than ever, it just
100%.
is necessary.
100%. Yeah, and I knew that no matter what, we can handle this conversation, and like I said, you're my Scorpio queen. You go to the depths, you speak the truth, and no, you take no bullshit. So it's like, and honestly, I'm glad that I can have this conversation with you today, and at least just tell you a little bit more candidly, like what the background and what the sources of my story and why I started this and why I'm so passionate about it, and how multifaceted really May the Courts Be With You is, because I don't think half of anybody knows of really why I am doing what I'm doing, or knows that part of it, because even on my website, I go a little bit into my story and how I lost my mom, but I don't really get into the nitty gritty about it. I mean, that would just be, I don't know. I've kind of toyed with the idea of like getting even more clear about it, but I was just like, I don't know, maybe it's better to not be so like politically charged, so to speak, on my website about it. But I know that where I put my money, where I speak up where I can, like that's what's gonna really shine through. But I think it's important, at least, now I'm here with you and I can share, like that really is the source of why I started all of this. And I'm looking forward to the future and seeing what it is, what else I can do as one individual, but we need to all stand together and in something.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that you felt called and comfortable to share your story on this platform and with me and with our listeners here. And just thank you from the bottom of my heart for going there today and for sharing that. And I know how tragic it was for you and
Mhm.
how much it has taken for you to peel back the layers on it.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
as you said, there is more healing. There's always more healing, but that's why we can call ourselves healers, because you're a healer because you're healing yourself.
Exactly. And I'm here to just share what's working for me, and obviously, of course, I want to make it unique to everybody else and seeing like what will work for them, but we can only share by our own experience. But
Absolutely.
yeah, it's been a beautiful journey, and it's funny. I'm actually back at that home where I grew up, and I've been living here since after the time. I remember when we were at in North Carolina at the retreat near Asheville, and it was in 2016, and I was getting ready to move back here, and I had like such a cathartic moment at that retreat about realizing like how scary it was for me to be moving back here,
Mm,
but it was also so necessary and very much a part of my path and my journey. And it's been honestly really great, and I think that it's just amazing how my brand has been able to take off because I allowed myself to come home and be close to my family again, and get back to my roots. And it's like really reawakening a lot within me. But I can't wait to see in like the next few years as like the next chapter unfolds where it's going to take me, because I obviously won't be in my old house forever.
gosh,
But
I'm excited to see that.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah, and that's in Florida, right?
It's in Miami. Yep, Miami Beach.
Right. So when this whole global pandemic thing is over, if you're
Mhm.
located in Florida and want to go and get an in-person sound healing with Brooke, cough, cough,
Yes. Please.
minus the coughs.
Mhm. Yeah, no coughs allowed in this house for sure. We're definitely not letting you in. But for real, yeah, if anybody wants to connect with me, in person, or especially for most of us, it's going to be online for a while. But if you're local in South Florida at all, or you're in Florida and like a little bit north, and you want to drive down and get together, I love to meet more of our community. It's what I live for.
Absolutely. And just so people know as well, what was the organization that you donated to the other day?
Sure,
If you could
it's
just share
called
with
Color
us.
of Change. Color of Change.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So people can follow them on Instagram or Facebook or
Absolutely. Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, they're on social media for sure. It was actually I was inspired before all of these threads started popping up left and right, and like where to donate, where to call, what to, sign these petitions. Like this was just before the wave of that last week, and I wasn't really sure what one of the best choices was, but a brand that I really love, it's a clothing brand nonetheless. They're privately owned, and they do a lot of like athleisure type clothing. I'm actually wearing a sweater by them right now. It's a Sherpa sweater,
Nice.
so it's super comfortable. Ask me why I'm wearing a Sherpa in Miami. I'm not sure, but it's really comfortable and I'm okay right now. But they're pretty amazing. The name is Balance Athletica, and they were saying that they were going to be donating $30,000 from this launch coming up next week, half to Color of Change and then half to another. And I just looked at both, and there was, I was like, wow, I really resonate with both. And I think I'm also just going to continue to follow suit with, the majority of my crystal sales. I've always kind of had that in the backbone of everything that I've done. I mean, I used to host moon circles when one of my best friends, before she moved to Colorado for her post grad work, she and I would co-host these moon circles, and they were donation based, and we would literally send 100% of proceeds to a variety of different nonprofits that we really loved. So
That's
that's always
amazing.
just, yeah, it's just always been, that's just like who I am. And that's, I think that when we give love, love comes back tenfold. And I've always seen that to be true. And it's what I believe about abundance. And that's my mindset. So I'll continue to do things like that as I grow, and with the crystal sales and everything. It's just been such a great vehicle for me. So I don't know, who knows in the future, maybe I'll even have my own nonprofit. I don't want to limit myself, but for now it's nice to donate to the places that are already taking action. So I think even this next week, I don't know, maybe it'll be like the ACLU or something to that effect.
Definitely. Definitely. Oh, that's so cool. That is so
Mhm.
cool.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you for doing that work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's necessary. Even if it's like $100, even if it's $5, I mean, it really, you don't have to have the 30K right off the bat,
Right.
you know? Sometimes people don't even have a dollar to spare. I mean, I still am in a position where I probably shouldn't be sharing that much because I have a lot of credit debt to consolidate from when I was living in New York, and that company that I worked for when it came bankrupt, and like a crazy story. But anyways, it's like I still know that's when how really things have been much more beneficial for me in this journey.
Hmm.
I've realized like the more I find ways to give with the means that I can, and I make it feasible, there should be no excuse.
Sure. And the more things come back to you in that way as well.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are there any other words of wisdom you want to share with us, Brooke?
Yeah, definitely. I think just in relationship to everything that's happening right now, just for everyone to, be gentle with themselves and to really, every night, if you can, just to like come back to your center and kind of just for a minute to turn off the noise and remember like what's really true in your heart. Because if you can really tune into that place, then I think you'll always, and I really feel that you'll always come back to love. And that really is so much of the answer always. And I think it's really difficult right now with there just being so much chaos and a lot of noise, but a lot of the noise is necessary. And we all come from sound anyways. So sometimes the noise is not so bad. It's just, are you listening to like classical? Or are you listening to like thrash metal? Sometimes it's really intense, but that intensity right now, it means a lot. So just to be really, conscious of what you're taking in and also what you're giving out.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Speak
Mm.
it. Yeah. Yeah, I love, this moment you just said we're all love, we're all love. And it brought me back immediately to this moment when you and I were at the first retreat that we were at together for the
Mhm.
group we were in, and
Mhm.
we had done these kind of like little pods of like gratitude circles
Oh my
almost.
gosh, that was
Yeah.
so good. Oh, I'm gonna cry
And
thinking about it.
it was amazing.
Oh.
And at the end they had kind of the leader of the group, Ali Schuler, who is no longer active in this work, but she has some really cool stuff out there on making um like women's circles and such more inclusive of
Mhm.
all backgrounds, which is really important to think about always. but one of the things that she did for this was basically like created titles for each one of these pods that we were in without letting us know what the titles were until the end. And when we came back together, group and I, well, Brooke and I were in the same pod, and
Mhm.
it turned out to be "You Are Love." And as soon as she said that, I remember looking you in the eye, Brooke, and I remember like cradling your face in my hands, and you cradled my face in your hands, and we like slammed our third eyes together, and we were like, "We are love."
Yeah.
Oh, it was just such a beautiful moment. But that was personally for me a really transformative moment too, to just like recognize that something like that could be said and felt, and not in a cheesy way, because my Scorpio spirit very much has this tendency of being like, oh, that's cheesy, that's
Mhm.
fluffy, like,
Mhm.
whatever. And so being able to be love still through the extremely human portions of life, and still be able to feel grief through love, or
Mhm.
pain through love, or struggle through love, and just to continue coming back to love in every single one of those aspects is
Yes.
vital.
Yes. So much yes. It was a beautiful exercise. I mean, just to like paint the picture, I mean, it's hard to really explain how it all went, but we were sitting in front of, our other sisters, and in those pods we were separated, and then it was like rotating in some way, shape, or form. But we were just speaking for like, what was it, like a minute each? Just the other person had to receive while you spoke to them all the things that you really had seen in them. And it was obviously like everybody was sharing like the most beautiful things about each other, and to just be there to receive all of that was, for some people, it's very triggering in some way, shape, or form to be able to
Yes.
receive in that to that depth. And I mean, these are women that are not really surface level, so they didn't just say like, "Oh, you're so pretty," and like close your eyes. Like, it wasn't, like it really like struck a chord for really all of us. So that's why I was like, I'm gonna cry. It was very beautiful, and I loved so many aspects. Like, I said at the beginning of this about what our sisterhood stood for and what it really did for all of us. And yeah, I think it's amazing what a like it was like a launch pad type experience those several years that I was immersed in that space.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, so good.
Mhm.
Well, Brooke, it has been so incredible to have you on here. I would love to know where we can find you on social media, your website, etc., and also if you have any upcoming offerings that you want to share with our listeners here today.
Thank you. Beautiful. Yeah. So everyone, please definitely drop me a line and let me know that you came from this podcast. And you could definitely find me on Instagram daily at MTQBWY, which is short for May the Quartz be with you. Got the acronym there. And my website is www.maythequartzbewithyou.com. And yeah, I'm on Facebook too. Not as often. I mainly just share a lot of my content from Instagram on there. And I think that that's really where you'll find me and where we can play. And in terms of offerings, I've really shifted a lot of my focus to my live crystal sales right now. And you can find me weekly. I'm doing that at this point on Instagram, usually every weekend. The times and days usually are around Friday, Saturday, and usually in the afternoons. But I shift them just to accommodate my wide ranging audience that's across the globe. So you're just making sure like I'm not doing the same exact time every week, so people that are on different time zones can come and play and participate. But otherwise, I think something that's been brewing, and I'm just saying it out loud so I can hold myself accountable. I have all these incredible tools for my shamanic sound healing practice. And because I've taken such a back seat with energy healing sessions, I am a certified crystal healer for the last, like 7 to 8 years I've been studying. So I have had to put that on obviously the back burner due to the pandemic, and also because I've been focusing on the crystal business. But I just need to put it out there that since my beloved has moved in with the new year, he's a really highly skilled percussionist. And I always just envisioned us doing more music together. So I've really
Hmm.
spoken to Rob about it a bunch, but I have a lot of incredible instruments, between my crystal singing bowls and a lot of percussive instruments that I have, and just really beautiful healing tools. So you guys can just keep on the lookout. Perhaps I'm gonna release some tracks or something, just more love at the end of the day. Like, I just want people to feel more of that those healing vibrations. And even if it's like through their headphones or whatever it needs to be, if that's the best that we can do right now, it's definitely an intention that I have set. So keep your ears open for that.
Oh my gosh, I'm backing that intention.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
so excited for this.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
Super excited for
amazing.
that too. But yeah, otherwise, I do a lot of card reading still for people, and it's over the phone. So if anybody wanted to have a card reading done, I combine my knowledge with astrology, and I take someone's current transit chart and I kind of mush it together with the oracle cards and tarot cards that I use.
Awesome. Awesome. And just so you guys know who are listening as well, I often refer people to Brooke as well. Those of you who've been wanting to work with me one on one, as I have greatly diminished my services essentially to focus more on the apprenticeship program and such. If you're looking for specifically a card reading or a chart reading, or exactly what Brooke just described, things that are kind of more, you want it once or you want it a couple times or whatever it is. Please go find Brooke, because yeah, I'm sending people to her now.
Yeah, I so appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being there, because as I've shared with you on the phone before, it's like, oh my gosh, I want to help everyone and
Mhm.
I can't.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
It's a
it's
lot. I
wonderful.
mean, it's a big world with and everybody's got their trauma and everybody needs some healing and some more love. So, if anything, I also just always envision that May the Courts Be With You serves as like a beacon of light and hope for the many, really. And for any of you out there who are drawn to this podcast or drawn to this work, like just do it, just go and
Yes.
research. We have so many tools that we're blessed with, with our little phones. They do so much. So, reach out and ask questions and don't be afraid because we need more people doing the work.
Absolutely. 100%. Oh, yes. Well, Brooke, it has been an immense, immense pleasure and honor to have you here today. Thank you so, so much for being here.
Of course, always. Thank you so much for having me.
Mm,
I love this and I always enjoy connecting with you.
ditto. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for hopping on. And please go follow Brooke on all of the things. Don't miss her live story sales or her live sales because they're both amazing. And yeah, I will tune in with you guys soon on the next episode. Take care and so, so much love.
Much love. Peace.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Doorway to Self podcast, for helping to spread psychic education, and for being a part of the mental health revolution. I hope you have received exactly what you needed today for your personal growth, understanding, and healing. For more information on upcoming workshops, retreats, and online events, please go to doorwaytoself.com. Thank you, and have a beautiful rest of your day.